What's up, Fast Cats? In today's episode, I am going to walk you through our 30-week off-season training plan. I'm going to tell you about the phases, the mesocycles, the week-by-week workouts, plus the rationale of how, what, why, when, and where. The 30-week plan is a refinement of a plan that we have been refining and optimizing and adjusting for roughly the past 8 years. It's worked for thousands of masters level cyclists with busy lives that don't have as much time to train as they would like. I personally guarantee it will work for you on the order of a 10 to 20% increase in FTP and even more if you keep going afterwards with our interval plans and our specialty phases. We like to teach and explain on this podcast, but today I'm going to show and tell you what's what with simple day-to-day instructions of how to show up next spring as a whole new cyclist. And what you're looking at is the 30-week plan on our desktop web version, and I'm going to run through all the phases, all the workouts for the next 30 weeks. Podcast listeners, head over to our YouTube channel for the video desktop demonstration. And everyone, as the saying goes, champions are bred in the off-season. And I would like to add the off-season is when you take your riding to the next level. This training is the type of training thousands of highly successful master cyclists do, and that are as time crunch, they're just as limited as you, but they get after it in a consistent way. And then when life punches them in the face, that's all right. They keep going. So this training plan is designed for working men and women who have a busy life, limited time to train, and they can now use CoachCat because we're solving the problem of what to do when life punches you in the face. Everyone's got a plan, as Mike Tyson says, until you get punched in the face. And this is the one that's the very best, but that we have solved the problem. What happens when you can't follow the plan? Because everyone has the best intention of doing it. We're going to show you how. So you want to think about using this plan as a template, and then you use CoachCat for help of what to do when you can't follow the plan. The single greatest thing you can do to improve is to follow a plan, follow that plan consistently. It's not bicarb supplements, it's not ketones, it's not torque-based workouts. It's showing up every day, day in, day out, working out, and then the longer you stay consistent, the more you will improve. Which, by the way, everyone, our Show Up and Streak contest is going off right now. Make 80% of your calendar turn green in October, and we'll mail you a Fast Cat t-shirt. So show up and streak, ask CoachCat for help when you can't, and get a training plan revision so you can stay consistent and keep those calendar days turning green. All right, without digressing, don't make me preach about consistency and how simple it is to follow a plan. You know, even the pros follow a plan, pros down to Joes. We've worked with the amateurs. We've worked with the pros, and so what we have done is boiled down high-level, high-performance training into an easy, simple follow plan that you can do. The key is you just got to stick with it for 30 weeks or longer. So in this plan, you'll do 3 phases, and I'm going to get into the actual week-by-week plan in a second, but you're going to do a 3-week fall foundation, then you're going to do a 10-week weightlifting phase, and then you're going to cap that off with a 16-week sweet spot base. And then boom, after that, you're ready to switch from base to race, start hitting the sauce with some intervals, and then you can move into your specialty phase, gravel, road, mountain bike, so forth. So let's start with the week 1 of the fall foundation. Now what you see on the screen right here is week 1 of the resistance training. You'll see the start of the fall foundation. We start off with a field test. You don't have to. You can skip that if you already know it. If you don't know it, you can go ahead and do it. If you don't want to do the test, if you're pretty close, you can just do this sweet spot 3x10 workout. But really, this is my data, by the way. But really, what you are looking at is in the fall, the fall foundation is really it's all about the muscle tension intervals. They're like lifting weights on the bike, and so that's what we're going to have you do here. So you will do muscle tension intervals twice a week. The first one is on day 7. Let me just show you what that workout looks like. Open it up here. So you're basically 3 by 10 minutes on, 5 minutes off. You can send this to your Wahoo, your Garmin, your Hammerhead. You can download it and do it on Zwift. Really, this is a torque workout. And I said torque wasn't that important. Anyway, I don't even want to digress. This is like lifting weights on a bike. We call them big gear mashers. What you want to do is put it in your 53 by like 11 and find a good hill to go up and down. And when we mean good hill, a steady grade, 2 to 3% grade, 4% tops, not too steep. If you go too steep, you're going to be forced to pedal too low a cadence. We don't want that. You want your RPMs to be between 40 and 60 RPMs. If you're on the trainer, which is actually a very good way to do these workouts, what I found on the kicker is you can't do erg mode on this. So don't even try this. This is a torque workout. It's not wattage or heart rate. Using a kicker or like a Stages SB20, I found that if you punched up the level and you increase the resistance so much that you could just barely turn over about 50 RPMs. It's a really good workout to do on Zwift's climbing portal. Most of the climbs are greater than 10 minutes, so you can just go up for 10 minutes, you can flip it, come back down for 5 minutes, do a 180 again and go back up. And the climb portal really lets you mash on those gears. It doesn't really matter how steep it is. But anyway, that's the name of the game for these muscle tension interval workouts. You're going to do 3 of those. You're going to do 1 the first week, and then you're going to do 2 the second week and 2 the following week. So what you're looking at, you got muscle tension intervals, 3 by 10. This is the intermediate level, by the way. 3 by 10, 75 minutes. You got 3 by 12, 90 minutes in the second week. And then you got 4 by 8 in a 90-minute ride on the end of week 2. And then week 3 culminates with a muscle tension interval workout, 5 by 9. It's pretty stout for an intermediate level. Check it out right here. But it's 3 weeks in. We're really going after it. And then one thing that I really preach to athletes is see if you can pedal 360 degrees of your pedal stroke. So not just mashing, but pushing and pulling. And then the key is what happens at 6 o'clock and noon of your pedal stroke. So when you get to like 6 o'clock, if you've ever, well, there's 2 analogies. One is like if you're a snowboarder, so just imagine dragging your back foot back. That's how you really initiate a turn on the snowboard. Or if you've ever watched like when bulls are about to charge and they scrape their foot, that's kind of like what you want to do at your pedal stroke to transition from pushing to pulling. So really concentrate on using your quads, your hamstrings, and then squeeze your butt. Really get your glutes involved in the power production of the force in this workout. When you look at the power analysis, some software packages actually allow you to look at the torque. Some power meters record that data, and these are just high torque intervals. That's the first thing I look at. We don't even look at power or heart rate. If you're doing threshold or higher wattage and heart rate, you're probably going too hard. So they really wind up being like low sweet spot, high tempo level efforts. But anyway, that's what the first week looks like. So you can see off day on Monday. And then you do sweet spot and tempo on Wednesday, hour ride, zone 2 on Thursday, off day on Friday, like a weekend group ride. What's that all about? It's just fun. The Fall Foundation is kind of like easing into training, getting back after a long season that was been rigorous and pretty structured and regimented. And it's the fall group ride. I call them fall foliage rides. Sometimes it's like, don't worry about intervals, just have fun. Go out and do it easy, like 75 OTS. It could be really 1 to 3 hours thereabouts. Just depends on what you have going on that day. We do begin to introduce Nino's secret training. This is an up-level workout. I consider it optional, but this is like circuit training. Who is Nino? It's Nino Schurter, multiple-time gold medalist, and he's got this super incredible inspirational video we have on our website, and he walks you through his agility and strength workouts. And what we do here is it's meant to inspire you. It's not meant to be like you have to do this verbatim. And if you get one thing, get the balance board and kind of adopt the resources you have at your house or your gym to basically just do some circuit training in 30 minutes. 30-minute bouts. You rotate through the 10 exercises 3 times. Moving on to the second week, you will see every Monday and Friday is a recovery day. Yes, this is the working woman and man's training plan design. We're going to do that for 3 weeks. So on Mondays, just because you have a day off the bike doesn't mean you don't do anything. You can actually do Dr. Eric Goodman's foundations, 12 minutes. Do this every day, no back pain ever. That's a picture of Dr. Eric Goodman leading these guys through the workout. It works. If you ever have back pain while you're riding your bike, make this a part of your weekly routine, and I promise you, your back pain will lessen and or go away completely. Moving on to the hydrant and the skates. You can get these PT bands off of Amazon. They come in different stretchinesses. The different colors represent how easy or hard they are to stretch. You can get like 6 versions. The green is pretty easy. You get the black one that I have, and it's really, really difficult. So you can progress through those. So watch these videos. These are glute activation exercises, really good for your training, especially on your recovery days. Let's see. Okay, so that's week 1. That's week 2. This is week 3. Got a little sweet spot in here. The other goal of the fall foundation is to not let your aerobic conditioning drop too much. You're banking in a little bit of training load before you go into the gym, and it's the fall. And so sweet spot 3x9. Look at it here. 75 minutes, 9 minutes on, 4.5 minutes off, 84 to 97%. Pretty straightforward. This is just a standard sweet spot workout. There's a lot of flexibility you can do in here too. If you obviously you can do this on the trainer. You can send it to your bike computer. We have a lot of athletes that will just go out and do 3 climbs in and around 9 minutes. They don't have to be exact. You're kind of looking for about 27 minutes. 3 times 9 equals 27 minutes of total sweet spot. It can be 30. It can be 20. Give or take. This is the fall. Fall equals flexibility. Tempo, same deal. 2x12, a little bit longer, but it's tempo, less wattage. And then following the fatigue-dependent training plan design model, zone 2 on Thursdays. Your legs are a little bit tired. Guess what we give you as part of your 30-week plan? We give you a 60-day membership in Yoga Glow. So open this workout up. Grab the code in here, head over to yogaglow.com/promo, enter the code in when you are prompted, and you'll get 60 days of Yoga Glow. And now enter cycling in the search box, the type of yoga you want to do. And there are 37 cycling specific yoga classes to complement your on the bike training. Really, really good to do, especially on Mondays and Fridays. Now, there are other routines. One of my favorites is called Off the Bike and Onto the Mat, which you can do after you get done with your ride. Really, really good for recovery. We've talked about yoga a lot on this podcast. I won't go into it too in depth, but make it a part of your off-season routine. Week 2. Group ride again, and muscle tension intervals again. Over here on Sunday, what do we have here? We have a Chipotle burrito bowl. This is a recipe suggestion. This is available to you in the recipe section of CoachCat. But this is just like, hey, here's a good idea for a great recipe to enhance your recovery and fuel your workouts. And here we give you the recipe here. And again, this is one of our fan favorites, in addition to the salmon watts, in addition to the bowl of health, and then the fan favorite for big rides, the eggs and rice. So we put those in there, not to say like you have to do it, but just to remind you that these are recipes for you. Okay, so moving through the 3 weeks of the fall foundation here. I started this plan on, what was the date? Monday, October 14th. We were recording this on Friday, October 11th, so I put it in the future. And so that's what the 3 weeks of the fall foundation look like. So 2 muscle tension intervals per week, couple of weekend group rides on Saturdays, some zone 2, a little bit of sweet spot, smatter and a tempo, pretty low key. It's really just to get your legs used to the forces you're going to encounter in the weight room from the muscle tension intervals. So over here in week 4, we have the start of the 10-week resistance training plan. Now, we podcasted about this a little less than 4 weeks ago on September 13th, so I won't go into the nitty-gritty of the 10-week plan, but I'll just show you the structure. So if you see adaptation number 1 on Monday, adaptation number 2 on Wednesday, adaptation number 3 on Friday, then what do? You keep doing muscle tension intervals on Tuesdays and Saturdays, 3 by 10. You've done that before now, 4 by 8 on Saturday. Muscle tension intervals again in week 5, 5 by 7, 3 by 12. And so the adaptation work progression just continues. Adaptation number 4, number 5, number 6 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you lift 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. What you see in the notes here, it's add 5 pounds. The adaptation phase, the number 1 goal is to teach your body how to do the lifts. Squat, leg press, leg curl. Really, the most important thing is to learn how to do a proper squat in these next 3 weeks. Leg press is pretty straightforward. Leg curl is very straightforward. With the squat, we have a brand new video added to the workout. It is of Coach Andrew and Coach Jake demonstrating how to do a proper squat. So we got Coach Jake right here. I wonder if this audio will come through. Nope, it will not. Anyway, you just watch the video. It's a picture of Coach Jake demonstrating how to do a proper squat in his garage. Very straightforward. You lower the bar down. I've seen some people call this the half squat, and then delineated between a full squat. Full squat is like where you bend your legs way more than you would like your knees in a pedal stroke. So technically this could be called a half squat. But watch the video. He does a side angle where his knees bend about the maximum amount you'll bend at the top end of your pedal stroke. That keeps it specific to cycling. And during these adaptation phase workouts, you're going to start with 0 pounds, as I described. You'll add 5 pounds per week. And then you'll get to a point in like week 2 where you'll kind of, not quite add as much. But then in week 3 of the plan, you're just going to add you begin to challenge yourself so you can get ready for the hypertrophy phase. The weekend group rides continue, and the muscle tension intervals continue. So does the Ninos. Now that becomes just continuing that work. And then this is the 3rd week of the plan, so adaptation number 7, number 8, and then adaptation numbers 8 and 9 are back to back. Oh, by the way, I forgot to show you the video of Andrew doing the leg press. There he is demonstrating it. It's pretty straightforward. If you see, you remove the pegs, you put your legs straight on the platform, lower them down, bam, specific to the knee bend of a pedal stroke. Nice work, Andrew. Okay, what I was going to say about that is in the 3rd week of the weightlifting phase, you do adaptation workouts number 8 and 9 back to back. Why? Because the following week in the hypertrophy phase, let me show you, it's earmarked by 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on. So you lift hypertrophy Monday, Tuesday, zone 2 on Wednesday, and then you lift again Thursday, Friday, and then you ride endurance zone 2 on the weekend, and then you might do endurance ride on Sunday again. Nothing really hard. You're really giving preference to lifting heavy in the gym. So if you notice from the calendar, it's the hypertrophy workouts are designated heavy and light. Really, that's just our way of just letting you know you'll do everything at this point is based on a percentage of your 1 RM. And let me show you when you'll set your 1 RM, by the way. So adaptation. So adaptation's 8 and 9, and then that Sunday. And this Sunday, it's November 24th, you're going to set your 1 RM. And this is where you just go into the gym, and you find out how much you can lift once. You're going to click this spreadsheet here. That's going to bring you into our 1RM spreadsheet. Make a copy of this. This is someone else's numbers, and you're going to enter your numbers in here, and then that'll calculate. Let's say you do 225. Do you see that? You do 300 on the squat. Do you see that? Leg curl, you might do 100. Bam. So, and then everything here in the squat, the leg press, and the leg curl are formulaic based on a percentage of your 1RM. Back to the plan. One thing that I can tell you that will already happen, looking at when you set your 1RM, is that Thanksgiving is going to fall in here. And you know what happens on Thanksgiving? A lot of gyms are closed. Some are open, but some are closed. So you're going to need to ask CoachCat what to do. And CoachCat will give you the answer. But also, watch my cursor here. Say, gosh, I can't even remember if Thanksgiving is on November 21st or the 28th this year. But this, so let's say it's on the 28th. I'm going to mess this up, but I should know this. Apologies. Say the gym is going to be closed, so you know you can't do this hypertrophy heavy workout. What do? Watch me drag and drop this. Drag this over to Friday, and you can't do 2 hypertrophy workouts in a day, so then drag this over to Saturday. And then you'll probably just wind up just doing 1 ride per week, so you can go over here to the Zone 2 1.5 hour ride. Let's just go over here in the upper right and delete that workout. Delete it. Bam. Just like that. And then Thursday, I like to have athletes do what's called a tryptophan ride, a fun social ride. It can be off. It can be a great day to maybe join a social ride on Zwift. You can come over here to your library, go to workouts, follow me. Let's say medium. I don't know if I have the tryptophan workout in the library. Nope. So we'll just do some casual Zone 2. So you have access to over 300 workouts. They're organized by easy, medium, and hard. And then once you get in there, they're organized by zones, zones 2 through 7. Say you just want to do Zone 2, 1 hour. Come over here, add this workout. Boom. So I'm doing 1 hour of Zone 2 on Thanksgiving Day. And I think I messed that up. I applied it to the current day. You got to change the date. Oh yeah, I messed that up. So anyway, yeah, just when you go to the workout, and it's going to put the workout on today's date, which is October 11th. And we don't want it on October 11th. So anyway, we're going to drag. Can we drag that way down here? Come on. All the way to Thanksgiving. Boom. Just like that. Easy peasy. Okay. But you're lifting hypertrophy for guess how many weeks? 2. So that's what you see here. And then moving on, you move on to strength phase. Now, in the strength phase, also 2 weeks. You're going to do 4 workouts. So you see these are on Monday and Thursday. And then what you'll remember from the podcast on September 13th, these sprint interval workouts are coupled with the strength workouts. So you lift on one day and you do sprints on the next day. Here's what those look like. You can send that to your workout. Honestly, don't hit the lap button when you're doing these. Just do them on multiples of 15 seconds. 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off. 4 reps per set. And that is the strength phase. Moving through there. Yeah, so you lift Monday, you do sprints on Tuesday, you take an off day on Wednesday, and then you do strength number 2 on Thursday, sprint intervals on Friday, and then group ride time on Saturday, and then zone 2 on Sundays. 2 weeks of that. They get progressive over from week 2 to week 1. Then you move on to power, and our power workouts, also a 2-week phase. They're labeled 1 through 4. That's what you see here. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Just like the strength phase, you're doing standing starts on the day after your power. If you're on the advanced or the pro level plan, a lot of you'll do double days. So you'll lift in the morning and you'll sprint in the afternoon. But again, standing starts, here's what those look like. Come on now, open up. Yeah, so the difference between the standing starts and the sprint intervals is a work to rest ratio. 1 to 6 for the standing starts, 15 seconds on, 90 seconds off. And that allows for complete recovery so you can do a greater all-out sprint. That's the name of the game there. You're going to do 2 weeks of the power phase. And then you're going to do weekend rides. Weekend ride again on Saturdays, and then some more zone 2. Notice how the zone 2 has been gradually going up here. This is called a progressive overload. You're getting further along in the weight program. You're wanting to still increase your training load. And so we're riding a little bit longer. Also, the weightlifting is not as difficult in the strength and the power phases as it was the hypertrophy. So you ride a little bit more on the weekends. So 2 hours on Saturday, maybe 3 if you got it. But again, what do you do if you don't have that time? This is the intermediate level with 8 to 12 hours per week. If you want a little bit less time, maybe choose the basic 4 to 8. You can always move back up to the intermediate at a later time in the year. Or you can ask CoachCat, hey, I've only got 2 hours. What should I do? And the answer is, I can tell you what it's going to be. It's just reduce that zone 2 from 3 hours to 2 hours, just like that. So that concludes your power phase, and then you move on to the 16 weeks of sweet spot plan. Now, the way that we handle this plan is we go back to the working man and woman's training plan design. So Monday, Fridays off, short structured intervals, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then longer unstructured sweet spot or OTS rides on Saturdays, and then zone 2 on Sundays. Again, if you just go down here and pay attention to one day, the hours get longer and the workouts get more difficult. That's called a progressive overload. I wouldn't say more difficult. They just get more challenging. You do more time in sweet spot, more time in tempo. This does follow our fatigue-dependent training plan design. So what we mean, if you follow my cursor, you do your most difficult workouts, higher wattage workouts on Tuesdays, less higher wattage workouts on Wednesdays, and then even less higher wattage workouts on Thursdays. So sweet spot Tuesday, tempo on Wednesday, zone 2 on Thursday. Take a recovery day on Friday. Saturdays is your most difficult, harder day. That's your sweet spot group ride or solo sweet spot ride. And then you do zone 2 on Sundays. I hope everyone knows that we're pretty big fans of group rides and Zwift and unstructured rides. We're all about endurance and longer rides. So a lot of athletes that do train solo, the question is, I can't do a sweet spot group ride. What do I do? Okay, so you can do this solo. And what the deal is, this is a 2.5 hour workout. Really, you're just going to go out there and try to spend a lot of time in sweet spot. Use your power meter, real-time power output. Don't do intervals. Just hold it 84 to 97% of your sweet spot. Come over there, know your zones, and that's the name of the game. If you're on this, you may want to do a sweet spot group ride on Zwift. If you do, the key to doing a sweet spot group ride on Zwift is not going too hard. The way to not go too hard on Zwift is really to ride down a level. If you're a B level Zwift rider, ride in the C or the D group, and don't enter races because that'll be sandbagging, but just ride down a group. And so when you're riding in the group, you just want to double check, hey, I'm in my sweet spot by heart rate and by power. If you go up if you ride up riding too hard, that becomes a threshold group ride. That's not what we need this time of year. We don't want you to become the group ride hero by riding too hard too early in the year. So anyway, this is what the first 3 weeks of this sweet spot phase looks like. It's going to be 16 weeks. That's 4 months. You're going to do 4 mesocycles in a 3-week on, 1 week off model. You're going to formally test 3 times, the beginning, the middle, and the end. That's what this field test is here. For me, it's on Tuesday, January 14th. The purpose of this field test is twofold. Number one, to set a baseline. Also update your zones if you did a field test 13 weeks ago at the beginning of this program. Whether you improve a little bit or a lot kind of just depends on how your body reacts to the weightlifting. That's not where the real gains occur. The real gains occur from Tuesday, January 14th, all the way through the next 16 weeks. You've set yourself up with the weightlifting. This field test sets your sweet spot zones very accurately, and it serves as a point of comparison when you do your next field test 8 weeks later at the end of your second rest week. Let me show you that. So moving on. So this is the beginning. So you have a rest week here. You see 2 days on, 2 days off, Monday, Friday, light sweet spot workout, another rest day, and then you got the rare Sunday off on Sunday, February 9th. Why do we do that? Well, it's to balance your training out with the rest of your life. Your wife is probably wondering, or your husband or your partner, sorry, I don't want to be that. Your partner or your family is probably like, why is dad or mom taking the day off? And you can say, well, this is the rare Sunday off per my training plan to give my life balance so that I don't wind up tipping the balance too far over to my training, because sustainability and consistency is the key. So do something fun and then honor it. That's the biggest thing. We have a lot of athletes that don't want to honor it because they're chomping at the bit. Technically, if you miss like a workout on Wednesday, you could do that workout on Sunday. So it's flexible, but the point is, if you've been following the plan, really try to take it, because you don't get too many of these throughout the year. 3, in fact. So that's why we call it the rare. There's only 3 of these. So anyway, you're starting mesocycle 2 here. The sweet spot workouts get a little more involved. We go from regular sweet spot up to sweet spot bursts. You do 2 sweet spot workouts back to back here, then bam, right into zone 2. Then in this phase, you begin the OTS ride. So we actually give you a number of training stress that we prescribe for you to go out and achieve. So 175 OTS. If you're doing 50 per hour, it's going to take you a little over 3 hours. It's a solid group ride. You can do these indoors on Zwift. Coach Jake's got a great video of him doing a 3-hour 200 OTS ride on Zwift. It can be done. It's also doable outside. But then on Saturday, February 22nd, we start to give you the just go out and do a group ride for 4 hours. Again, can be done on Zwift. Most athletes prefer it outside. But the bursts continue. Then we get into the crisscross workouts. This is the wintertime intensity. So zone 3 to sweet spot. This one is not that intense yet. Even do a little sprint workout here. But as you see, as you go along the plan, the Monday, Fridays are consistent all the way through, but you're beginning to ride more and more on the weekend. Sweet spot bursts here. And then you got your second rest week of the second mesocycle. So it is Monday, Friday off. I'm sorry, Monday, Tuesday off. And then here's one of my most favorite workouts. So on Wednesday, March 5th, you're going to go full gas, 2x10. And these are what I call pre-test efforts. So 10 minutes on, and then 5 minutes off, and then 10 minutes on again. Now, from your power analysis, guess what you can do with these workouts? Let me scroll back all the way. You can measure your power output from the beginning all the way to the beginning of the first interval all the way to the end of the second interval. That's your average power for the 10-minuters. That includes the 5-minute recovery period. And that is the number which you can use as your pacing benchmark. What happens with a lot of athletes when they do all this good training, all of a sudden they're improving so much, their FTP is no longer accurate. And so that's why I always say go full gas. Just give it everything you got. And then this number helps you put you in the ballpark so you don't go too hard. But you've also improved a lot. And so say your FTP was 250 in January, and you come in here over these 2x10s, you do like 280 and 290. And then the overall average is 285 from start to finish, including the rest period. That's like a really good thing, and that's what we see a lot. So when you get over to your field test on Saturday, start at about 285. You know, the number one thing Number one rule of field testing is don't go out too hard, but 285 is not too hard because you literally have proven you can do that for 25 minutes on the Wednesday workout. So this is why we call it pre-test. If you start off, so what we recommend, the way to do a proper field test, start off 285 for the first 2 minutes. Let the effort rise, begin to feel it. After about 2.5, 3 minutes, ask yourself, can I sustain this for the next 18 minutes? You gotta, it's a part guess, part feeling. You don't know until you actually go through and do it. But if it feels easy, go ahead and nudge it up, maybe 5 watts, 10 watts. If it feels really easy, nudge it up 10, 20. Again, the whole point of testing is to find out. And so you want to find out by doing, so really push yourself. A lot of athletes say, I messed this field test up or I didn't do it right. The way to do it right is to give it your best effort from start to finish for the full 20 minutes. The way to do it wrong is to back off and sometimes like quit or just phone it in. That's the wrong way. If you give it your all for the whole 20 minutes, don't worry if your power goes up or down or whatnot. We can let the power analysis take care of that. But if you've given it your all, you've done it right. And yeah, the best way to start off with is not going out too hard. But anyway, I don't want to digress into field testing and thresholds and protocols and this and that. But guess what? You've done 3 weeks of fall foundation, 10 weeks of weights, and now you're 8 weeks into your sweet spot. This is the moment where you start to see some big improvement. So kudos to you. And that we have the auto FTP detection. So you'll get that notification. We'll update your zones. And it's just like what Greg LeMond says. It never gets any easier. You just go faster. So a lot of athletes will, exclaim, "Oh, my sweet spot workouts just got harder." But that's all right. You've gotten faster. Everything is proportional to your individual fitness at this time. And so congratulations, you have improved. Now you got 8 more weeks, so let's keep going. The day after the field test, because you only rode an hour and a half here, we'll give you a whopper the next day on Sunday. If you want to do that whopper 4.5 hour ride after your field test, you're that much of a beast, go for it. And then you can just ride a little bit less on Sunday. But moving on into the third mesocycle is my favorite. We start the FastCat wintertime intensity progression. Now this is when we begin to sprinkle in a little bit of intensity to your sweet spot and tempo workout. So we start off with the FastCat number 1, call it the Cheetah Pounce. It's on Tuesday. So you're going to do sweet spot, and then the last 30 seconds of these 4x6 intervals, you're going to pounce like you were a cheetah, and you'll do an anaerobic effort for 30 seconds. But then you got the recovery after that. You move into a fairly stout 4x12 sweet spot workout on Wednesday, zone 2 on Thursday, off day Friday, and then the old tried and true sweet spot group ride on Saturdays, zone 2 on Sundays. And you just move through that progression. On the third week of this mesocycle, what do we have here? We have 2x15 threshold intervals. You are ready. This is called a progressive overload. So you don't just do sweet spot all the time. So you do 2x15 on Tuesday, you do 4x10 sweet spot bursts on Wednesday, zone 2 Thursday, and then a 4-hour sweet spot group ride on Saturday. And then just like a freestyle 3-hour ride on Sunday. Now, remember, this is the intermediate level. This is 8 to 12 hours per week. If you have 4 to 8 hours, you're going to do less hours, and the number of reps on the intervals is less too. It's really nice if you're new to training and you only have 4 to 8 hours. But if you've been training for a couple of years and you also have 8 to 12 hours, this is it. This is smack dab in your sweet spot. No pun intended. But yeah. So do that 3-week mesocycle. You're going to take another rest week. Honor the rest week. I'm telling you, after all this training, let your body catch up. So 2 days off again, and then sweet spot 4x15. That's 1 hour's worth. That's a very difficult workout, but you've had 2 days off, so your body's going to be able to rise to the occasion. Zone 2 on Thursday, and then a biggie, your first 5-hour ride of the plan on the intermediate level, and then the rare Sunday off. So on one hand of the weekend, you're gone all day, and then the next day you're home all day. Hopefully that works out in your household. Okay, final block of the sweet spot training progression. We're getting after it. Now it's go time. And so what do we have here? We have the FastCat number 2. It's the sweet spot cheetah pounce. It's 6x4 again. And then the following Tuesday is the FastCat number 3. It's what I call the sprint, stalk, and catch. 2 sets, 3x3 minutes on. You're going to do an over-under at the beginning and the end. And that's a good workout. The 3-minuters come fast and furious, so this workout helps the time pass fairly quick. I like it. So, without going into all the detail, that's like the progressive overload. What we have here is a rest week. Same deal before, 2x10 off. And then you're going to, so 2x10 pre-test, and then you're going to do another field test on Saturday. And this is where you knock it out of the park even more. Really, really good to improve upon where you were the previous 8 weeks ago. So that, my friends, is the 30-week plan. Congratulations. You have ended it with a field test, which I am pretty sure is going to be your highest FTP of all time, unless you did this plan last year, but even then it should be higher. Let me take you into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of of this training calendar and what you can do in case you can't do a workout. So let's go all the way back up here to today, October 11th. Let's go back to the last time CoachCat analyzed my data. And let's say I only have 90 minutes to train tomorrow. What should I do? And then you're going to hit return. And CoachCat is going to give you your answer back. Sometimes CoachCat takes a little bit longer than cheetahs are fast. Aha, okay, so for your 90-minute window tomorrow, I suggest a cycling session titled Sweet Spot, 4x9 minutes. This workout includes the warm-up, the sweet spot efforts, interspaced with a recovery and cool down. Would you like for me to add that to your calendar tomorrow? And of course the answer is yes. Now what CoachCat did, which was really smart and cool because we trained it this way, generally the less time you have, the more intensity, the sweet spot intensity you add. So what the whole thing about sweet spot is, it gives you the most bang for your buck. So if you take a 3-hour ride where you were just going to get in some endurance and you half that, the compensation of what you do is you add the sweet spot intensity to it. So that's the 4x9. So I really like that. And that's available to you when you ask CoachCat for what to do when you can't follow the plan, or you don't have enough time, or you got soccer, or the weather's bad and you don't want to ride 3 hours on the trainer. So this is a little bit of the data. This is a ride I did. And then, so power is color coded in by zones 1 through 7, Roy G. Biv, if you recognize the color code of the rainbow. But zone 2 is blue, and then zone 6 and 7 are red to literally give some color to going into the red. And then over here we have the elevation. Also, this is the GPS elevation trace is color coded to the intensity. And so you see this climb here when I was going hard up, and that corresponds to this time in zone. So 3 minutes, 6, 7. 3 minutes and 7 seconds in zone 6. If after the end of your 30-week plan, you already know you want to get into some intervals, or you have a gravel race coming up, you come over here to your library, go to training plans. You just type in the plan you want. Say it's gravel. You want to do gravel training plan. We have a flat and a punchy version. The flat version is really the punchy version. It's suitable for like your unbounds, your big sugars, with climbs less than 5 minutes. The gravel hilly, that's for your crusher and the tushers, your BWRs, your basically your races west of the Mississippi. And so what you can do If you've been on the basic, you can maybe upgrade to the intermediate. I'll show you how. Come down here, select duration. So you have the choice of doing the basic, 4 to 8, intermediate, 8 to 12, or advanced, 12 to 16 hours per week. Choose your duration, choose your start date here. I think this was way in the future. Yeah, and then you just select start, go, puts it on your calendar, and off you go. So listeners, that is our 30-week off-season training plan. It's available to you in the library. It's also available if you use our custom training plan builder. Oftentimes you'll be asked, do you want to lift weights or not? If your answer is yes, you're going to get this 30-week plan because that includes a 10-week weightlifting plan. If your answer is no, if you have bad knees or back, you're going to get the 16-week plan. So you're just going to bypass this, which is a component of this 30-week plan. So that's all good. That's how that works if you do or do not want to lift weights. The other alternative, we have a 16-week sweet spot plan with strength and conditioning, where it's got a lot of kettlebell and some Viper work, but doesn't include the squats or the leg press, which may aggravate your back. So yeah, that is our podcast and video demonstration today. I hope you all liked it. In the next demo, I'm going to walk you through our interval plans, maybe some of the specialty phase plans. This is when it's time to switch from base to race. When you get done with all that sweet spot, have done a pyramidal training plan design. Now you're going to switch over to do the polarized training plan design. That's what we call switch from base to race. You go from base to intervals, and that's when you start going as hard as you can. So let us know in the YouTube comments if you have any questions or feedback, or if you aren't yet on CoachCat, it's really easy to get on and try. You can get on this program free for 30 days. Just head over to fastcatcoaching.com. We'll build you a free custom plan that includes this 30-week off-season plan, or you can use CoachCat for a different recommendation. And you can also use CoachCat for help when life punches you in the face and you need a plan revision, a custom workout, or just simply some advice of what to do per your specific situation. So hope everyone has a great week, and you know what to do, which is show up and streak, because consistency is king. So thanks for listening, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure that you do. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.